What it do, house crew? Man, we're back here. Dana White decided to bless us with some really good fights. Now, let's just start with the biggest one. Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev. This fight was just bound to be made. I mean, it was kind of expected. They're teasing this for like 4 months now. So, it's been made. Madison Square Garden, main event. I will be watching this because I watch every event, so why the fuck would I miss this? But yeah, Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev. Man, this is a fight I've been waiting for. This is actually a really good fight. This is a really good stylistic matchup. It's between a guy with really good takedown defense and really good striking against a guy who's one of the most dominant grapplers we've seen in the UFC so far. And I think this is going to be a true test for Makhachev. You know, he's going up a weight class. He's going up against the welterweight champion. And let's be for real, Islam hasn't fought a welterweight yet. He's fought lightweights. He's a pretty big lightweight, but he's not a welterweight, and he's pretty small for a welterweight. And Jack Della Maddalena, he's not a huge welterweight, but he's also pretty big. He's like 200 pounds, 205, right? This is going to be a tough fight for Islam, and you know what? For my early predictions, I'm gonna go with Jack Della Maddalena by decision. I think this is going to be a very back and forth fight. This is going to be a fight where we see these two guys literally try to outsmart each other. We're going to see JDM encroaching on Islam, pressuring him. He's going to be the one backing him up. I don't see Islam dominating him on the feet. And I think Islam is going to be trying to scramble with him. He's going to take him down. Will he take him down? I honestly will be very interested to see, can Islam take down JDM? Because Bilal struggled. He struggled heavily to take down JDM. And Islam, although I'm not saying he's a worse grappler than Bilal, but they're on the same tier in terms of wrestling. I'd be interested because Bilal is a pretty big welterweight. I mean, not a big welterweight, but he is a welterweight. And Makhachev is not a welterweight. So, I'd be interested to see. I have JDM by decision. I think on the feet, JDM will just show he's the better striker. We've seen Dustin and Renato Moicano and Volkanovski. They're able to catch Islam when he's on the feet. When he doesn't have the comfortable range where he's at, where he's able to pressure and back people up. He does not excel on the feet as much. And when Volkanovski was able to put pressure on Islam, back him up, Islam didn't really look that good. And you look at his last two fights, he hasn't really made much adjustments in his striking. In the Dustin Poirier fight, not really that much change in his striking. He looked honestly the same. And I don't want to say this because of the fact that Islam is still very good, but I feel like JDM is only getting better and better, and Islam's kind of peaking in terms of the growth. And when you're this dominant as a champ, as Islam, you don't make these adjustments. You don't make these type of things because you're getting older. Islam is 33. He's going to be 34. And I just don't think that Islam is going to have an easy fight here. This isn't going to be some shutout performance like he had against Renato Moicano, who's, frankly, let's just be real, he was never that good. He was never that good. At the wrestling, anyways. And then we got Jack Della Maddalena, who's coming off such a huge win. I don't think people realize how good that Bilal Muhammad win was, because of the fact he's coming off a year layoff. He had surgeries on his arm. He pretty much like he was going through a lot of shit, and he came back and put a star performance on Bilal Muhammad, who was in the prime of his career, who was in the best shape he's ever been. You know, training the Khabib team and all that stuff. And then we got Islam, who he's looked so dominant, and he's looked dominant in his last fight. But you look at the Dustin fight, you look at the Volk fight. It's just really not that. It's not that he's bad. He looked bad. He just didn't look unbeatable. He didn't look so dominant and dangerous and unbeatable and invincible. He looked like a guy who has really good grappling, but that's really where it kind of stops, because his striking does have a huge flaws that Jack Della Maddalena will definitely exploit. I think Islam is weak to these long boxing combinations that JDM specializes in, and because of that fact, I do think that JDM will put on his best performance yet and defeat Islam Makhachev by decision. I'm going with 49-46, Jack Della Maddalena. In the first round, it will be very competitive. We will see Islam rebound in the second round where he's able to maybe get a takedown on Jack Della Maddalena and hold him. And then I think in the third, fourth, fifth, we're going to see Islam slow down and JDM get better. And as a result, I think that JDM will win this fight by a very competitive, but a very clear decision. Next, we got the co-main event, Shevchenko Val versus Zhang Weili. Double champ fight. I can't wait for this. This is a fight I have been begging for. Man, I can't wait for this fucking fight. This is so fucking good. Man, this is so good. I'm like fucking like busting because of this fight, bro. Yeah, Shevchenko versus Zhang Weili. This was the fight that needed to be made. This was the women's fight that we all needed. This is what WMMA needs. It needs big fights like these between two stars who dominated their divisions. Now, Zhang Weili has a lot of aura and a lot of hype going behind her because she's looked so dominant in her last title performance. And Shevchenko, she's a dominant champ too, and she looked really good against Fiorot. She looked really good against Alexa Grasso, but they're not as impressive as what Zhang Weili's been doing. But for my prediction, I am choosing Shevchenko by decision. The reason why I'm saying that is because style-wise, I think Shevchenko is a bad matchup for Zhang Weili. Zhang Weili is going... Now, it looks like they're the same size, but no. Shevchenko will be bigger, and she will be stronger, and she will be taller than Zhang Weili. That's just a fact. Zhang Weili, she relies on the blitzes. She relies on closing the distance, especially backing up her opponents to be able to kind of get some striking going. And Shevchenko's really good at keeping her distance, keeping that distance management, picking up people apart from range, counter-striking effectively. She will piece up Zhang Weili. She will. I just don't think Zhang Weili's grappling is going to threaten Shevchenko that much either. She's not fighting a Fiorot who's super huge for the division. She's not fighting an Alexa Grasso, who's a very expert grappler who's also pretty big for the division. Zhang Weili's pretty small. She's a 115-pound girl, and she's a pretty small 115-pound girl too. Like, there have been bigger 115-pounders. And Shevchenko is a big 125-pounder. This is just going to be a... because here's the thing. Skill-wise, I think Zhang Weili is better. But I think Shevchenko is just skilled enough to where her physical advantages actually matter. Where it actually does play an effect. This isn't going to be like... I feel like this is going to be the opposite of Islam versus Volk. Because, Volk... He had the lighter man skill, and Zhang Weili will have the lighter man skill. I think she will be faster on the feet than Shevchenko, but I think Shevchenko's striking is just more precise. It's more clean. It's much more. It's much more catered towards a style like Zhang Weili, who blitzes, who brawls, and does leave her to get countered. And I think Shevchenko, although she hasn't looked that fast and as good as she used to be, because she's getting older. She's like 37. I still think Shevchenko is really, really good, and she's still in really good shape. And she had some tough opponents. Like Manon Fiorot, people are saying like, oh, she had a very close decision with Manon Fiorot. Manon Fiorot is a bad matchup. She is a bad matchup with Shevchenko because she's bigger. She's bigger, she's stronger, and she's a really good striker too. I just don't think Shevchenko is going to struggle as much against Zhang Weili, who is smaller, who is a lot more easier to counter, and I don't think Zhang Weili's grappling is going to make much of a difference. Because Shevchenko has good wrestling takedown defense. So, yeah. I think Shevchenko's going to win this by decision. I'm going to go 48-47. I do think that Zhang Weili will steal some rounds, especially in the beginning. But I think Shevchenko's going to rebound later and be able to kind of steal the last 3 rounds. Next, we got Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates. As you know, at Dr. House Crew over here, we are fans of Leon Edwards. We love Leon Edwards. And when I mean we, I mean all of us. As you can see in my comment right there, the Leon title run starts again, and guess what? It does. I think Leon Edwards is going to win this fight. And before y'all come in the comments and say, Mom, before all you guys come into the comments and say, House, this is wrong. Carlos Prates is so good, he's going to knock out Leon. I just think that Leon's a bad matchup for Carlos Prates because here's the thing about Carlos Prates. When you look at his opponents, who he's ragdolled, you look at Neil Magny, you look at Jeff Neal, you look at Lee Jenglion and Charles Radke, you gotta realize one thing. A lot of these guys are very short-range fighters. They're boxers. Or They're like brawlers. And those are the guys that Prates does so well against because Prates is so good at picking people apart who pressure him. He's so good off, you know, targeting these short range guys, these boxers. And we saw in the Ian Gary fight that he's not as good going against a very good distance managing striker. Now, is Ian Gary better than Leon Edwards? No, I don't think so. But I think Leon Edwards has been dealt a very bad hand his last two fights. Bilal Muhammad, bad matchup. Sean Brady, bad matchup. He hasn't fought a striker since Nate Diaz. That was 2019. Or was it not 2019? I think it was 2022. Or 2021, yeah. It's been almost 4 years, and he hasn't fought a single striker. And I think, Leon Edwards, this is the fight he needs. This is the fight where he can show that he can get back and maybe make a statement again. Do I think he might get the title? I don't know. If JDM is champ, I think he does have a chance to beat JDM. But this is the chance for Leon Edwards to kind of get back on there. And he's going to be motivated. This is on the big stage. And I think Leon Edwards is going to be confident that he's fighting a striker. And I think that's going to be the case. I think he should be more confident because I think Prates is an easier matchup than Sean Brady. Sean Brady is a high-pressure grappler who is able to find submissions pretty easily. Prates, on the other hand, doesn't do well on the back foot. When he doesn't have that left hand available, and when he's not pressuring someone, he is not as active on the feet. And I think Leon Edwards will implement a game plan like how Ian Gary did, by keeping him busy, by varying the strikes, keeping things at range. And I think when you keep things at range, Prates isn't as dangerous. So I'm going to go with Leon Edwards. I'm going to go with Leon Edwards by decision. Do I think Carlos Prates is going to knock out Leon? He actually could. He could knock out Leon. And I would be pretty sad if he did. But Carlos Prates always has that knockout power, and he can definitely knock out Leon. But I think Leon's defense, and I think the fact that he's not going to be fighting a grappler, because Prates isn't some high pressure, like high volume striker like Bilal or Sean Brady. He's not going to be pressing up against Leon and bum rushing him and doing all that stuff. And Leon is not going to have to worry about the takedown threat. I think Leon is going to win this fight, and I think he's going to show everyone that, hey, I'm not washed. I'm still good in it. And Leon's 33. He is still in his prime. And I think he's just been dealt a bad hand. This is an easier matchup. And I'm going to go with Leon. I am going with my boy Leon Edwards by decision. End the story. Next, we got Virna Jandiroba versus Mackenzie Dern 2. The sequel we, as in all of us, we have been waiting for. For the strawweight title, Zhang Weili vacated her title. They're going to be fighting for the title now. Their first fight, I watched it live. It was actually pretty good to watch. Like, if you want to rewatch that fight, it's pretty good. But Mackenzie Dern won that fight. But I think Jandiroba will achieve that get back. She will get that back in blood. I think Virna Jandiroba has improved in multitudes greater than Mackenzie Dern. You look at their records, Virna Jandiroba has been dominating most of her opponents since that fight. Mackenzie Dern, on the other hand, has been up and down. She is up right now. She is on a bit of a win streak. She's on a 2-fight win streak. She has a recent win against Hibas, who she did lose to. She did lose to before, and then she submitted her in the second fight. But you look at Virna Jandiroba, she submits Lemos. She ragdolled Yan Xiaonan. Ragdolled her. It was 30-27. She, on the ground, she just had no chance. And I think Yan Xiaonan was almost submitted 4 times. Jandiroba is such an insanely talented grappler. This fight's going to be interesting because these are going to be really good scrambles. We're going to get good scrambles. We're going to get scraps. These women are going to be scrapping. I think people are kind of shitting on this fight because, Mackenzie Dern, Virna Jandiroba, I don't know who those people are. This is going to generate a really good fight. This is a good comment. I actually like this. I like this fight because now it's in 5 rounds, and I think Virna Jandiroba will win this fight. She will win this fight. Do I think she's submitting Mackenzie Dern? No. Mackenzie Dern is a very talented grappler. She has very good grappling defense. And I think the scrambles in this fight will be very technical and very high level. Like you really don't see that in the 135 and 125 pound divisions, that high technicality. But with Unijandro and Mackenzie Dern, they're the most impressive grapplers in the division right now. And so we're going to see very good. We're going to see very good performances from either of them. And I think this is going to be a war. This is going to be a 5 round war. I see it being like a Zhang versus Joanna thing. I think these two will scrap and they will scramble, and they're going to make this a very close and very competitive fight. But Fiona Jandaroba will win this. I think I got her by 48-47. Next, that's the co-main, by the way. Next, we have the feature bout: Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Bautista. This is a good fight. I'm just gonna say right now my early prediction: it's Umar Nurmagomedov by decision. I don't think he's gonna finish Bautista. Umar's not much of a finisher. You know, a lot of people like to say, "Oh, he has that nice knockout against Brownie Barcelos." Who does that to Brownie Barcelos? He's a marauder. But Umar is not a big finisher. He's very good on the feet. I think a lot of people kind of shit on him because of the fact that he talked so much shit against Merab. And now with what Merab's been doing and what he will do on October, that Umar win is aging pretty well, because Umar did do the best out of all of them. I mean, Jan got dominated. O'Malley got submitted. I mean, Umar did do the best. And do I think he's going to win the rematch? No. But I am still interested to see the rematch. I kind of do want to see it. And I think with a win like this against a surging contender like Bautista, because I think Bautista, apart from Merab, has the biggest win streak. This is going to be a very good win for Umar. This is going to be a win that maybe the UFC are going to be like, hey, let's set up this rematch. Or they're going to have Umar maybe fight a Sean O'Malley or something like that. Maybe sometime later. But yeah, this is going to be a good fight. I think this is going to be a pretty competitive fight. Mario Bautista is really good. And there's a lot of hate against him. People saying, oh, he's boring, he's all this stuff. Yeah, he had one bad fight. And it was against Jose Aldo, who has rock solid takedown defense. Not even Merab could take him down for like once in their fight. And Merab has been taking everyone else down. So I can't blame Mario Bautista for that fight, because it wasn't in his hands. He probably thought he lost that fight too. And, you know, he was saying, like, oh, I won that fight. I mean, like, come on. Let the man be proud of his win, bro. You beat Jose Aldo. I'd be happy too. You know, don't blame him. Blame the judges for getting the fight wrong. But with Umar Nurmagomedov, I think Umar is very skilled. I mean, he's not on Merab's level, but nobody is. I think people kind of forget that. People like say shit on Sean O'Malley. He's ass. He lost to Merab. Umar's ass. He lost to Merab. Oh, Peter Yan's ass. He lost to Merab. Merab is beating everybody. Everyone's losing to Merab. So you can't really shit on Umar and say like he's washed. He's never good. He was never good. Like, here's the thing. I know I was picking Merab, and I did say Umar wasn't that good. I'm just saying Umar wasn't on Merab's level, and that was right. He wasn't on Merab's level in terms of the wrestling and the striking. He got outstruck and he got out wrestled. That's just simple as that. It was a very competitive fight, and Umar was able to win the first 2 rounds. But even then, like, even the first round was pretty competitive, and I could have given that to Merab if I wanted to. But I think that Umar is going to show how good he is. I think it's going to be a competitive fight. I do see Umar outstriking Mario Bautista on the feet. I think his kicks, what it does at range, it really kind of perplexes some people. And Mario Bautista, in my opinion, he's a really good, talented guy. I just don't think he's on the level to beat a top 5 guy yet, especially like Umar. Maybe he has a chance against Figgy. Maybe he could probably give a competitive fight to Corey again, because their first fight was pretty competitive before he got submitted. So I think that Umar will win this by decision. I'm going with 30-27. I think Umar is just going to be ahead on the scorecards. I think he will out grapple Mario Bautista. And if he's not going to take down Mario Bautista, he's going to at least defend Mario Bautista's takedowns. And I think Umar, at range, he's going to just pick Mario Bautista out. He's going to go with the body kicks, the head kicks, and I think those will give Mario Bautista trouble to be able to kind of establish that jab and to be able to press press forward. And I just think that Umar is just way better than Patchy makes. That's just the simple truth. So Umar is just going to show really vintage, classic performance, dominant performance. He's probably going to call out Marab on the mic and be like, hey, Marab, I won that fight. I have broken hand. Please get... I want a rematch, Marab. You are ducking me. And Marab's going to, hey, Umar, you will be humbled right again. You will be humbled. You are spoiled, man. You have Khabib. Your rematch, you get destroyed, brother. I don't know, that's a good impression. But yeah, the post-fight interview will be insane. So yeah, I'm really happy to see this fight. This is going to be a good fight. In my opinion, I thought they should have made Jan versus Nurmagomedov. That was the obvious fight to make. That was the best fight they could make. I don't know why the fuck they made Jan fight Marcus McGee. Like, what the fuck was the point of that fight? Why did Jan have to even accept that fight? He could have just waited for a title shot, and he would have been right to do so. He still styled on McGee, but it's like that fight was so unnecessary. When we had a fucking guy right here, we could have made him fight. You think Umar is going to be the fucking in charge? I can fight whoever I want. He's fucking Umar. Just because Khabib's your cousin doesn't mean you don't fight Uy Peter. Like, bro, we get it. Your hand was broken. It doesn't take 7,000 years to feel a broken hand. Anyways, I'm going to stop yapping. I got Umar by decision, 30-27. That's all I'm going to say about this thing. Daddy Dana White has cooked again. All of these fights, all bangers. I mean, all of these fights, I am very excited to watch. He is cooking for these last few pay-per-views. Man, I can't wait because, holy hell, he always ends the year so strong, and this is going to be a very good case of it. So, yes. I'll see you in the next one.